What's up, everybody?
Hello, everyone.
It is Thursday.
It's Thursday, unless you're not watching the live. Then
Yeah,
it could be whatever day it is for you.
yeah. But for us, it's
It's
Thursday.
Thursday for us.
And every time we show up at this time on a Thursday, that simply means that it's another episode of Inside the Relationship coming up.
Indeed.
And this is gonna be a good episode. We got a couple good things to talk about. Of course, there's one thing that we ask of you, just one, and that one thing is that you share it.
Share it. I'm about to do that right now.
That one thing is that you share it. And so, listen, without really doing a whole lot of long intro, because we're going to tell you to share it again after the intro plays, we're just going to jump in right now. So, if you're watching now or if you're watching the replay, hit the share button and let the folks know in your network that it's time for another episode of Inside the Relationship. Let's go.
Let's go.
You're watching Inside the Relationship with Denise and Ollie.
So sit back, relax, and let's talk about all things relationships. What's happening, everybody?
What's up?
What's going on?
What's up?
What's going on? It's Thursday. Thank you for being here. Those of you who are joining us now, thank you for watching the replay. Those of us who, those of us, those of you who are watching the replay, thank you for being here. Listen, it's Thursday. It's time for Inside the Relationship. I'm Oliver.
I'm Denise.
Denise is doing right now what I'm about to ask you to do, which is to share this. Very simple ask that we have is that wherever you're watching this, there is an opportunity and an option for you to share.
Indeed.
Click that share button and share it with some folks so that we can get into this. Listen, we are authors, speakers, and coaches in the relationship building space. I also wrote a book for men, and that book is entitled Overcoming the Man Laws for the Man Who Wants to Be His Best Despite What He Was Taught. So we are passionate about seeing relationships thrive. Mm-hmm. We are passionate about seeing men win in every area of their lives.
Yes.
And this show is geared to that. In this show, you're going to get our take on some things. There's a question of the week. There's some stuff in social media we're going to talk about. There's a marriage minute where we're going to share some tips and tools. And there's a last word. And those are the 4 segments of this show. So anything you want to say, babe, before we jump in?
No, I just hope everyone's doing well today.
Yeah.
I just hope everyone's doing well today. I hope you had a better day today. I hope you're taking care of yourself. And if you're not doing well, it's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to be doing well yet.
You
take care of yourself.
You can grieve.
Take care of yourself. That's all I'm going to say. Keep it moving.
You can grieve. Let me just say this, though, since you brought that up. There's a line, and I'm not going to say it verbatim because I'm probably going to jack it up, but I thought this kind of stood out to me when Vice President Harris said in her speech, it is not time. I can't remember exactly what she said, but basically it's time to roll our sleeves up, basically. Mm-hmm. But the way she said it I was like, man, that's really powerful the way she said it. So it's not there's an opportunity here, even in the, unfortunate nature of how things have played out. There's an opportunity here to roll our sleeves up and put in some work. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. It's not a political show, but since you brought that up, we just want to throw that out there. So listen, those of you who are unfamiliar with us, wherever you're watching this right now, hit the follow button. If it's YouTube, which we would love for you to jump over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, and then join us on Saturday nights. On Saturday nights, we have a great show called Have a Conversation After Dark. Have a Conversation After Dark is a show where we talk about everything and anything.
Any and everything.
That has to do with relationships, right? Was it last week? Last week we were talking about, was it last week?
Last week we were talking about
how do you
tell your spouse that they've let themselves go.
Oh man, y'all got to go watch that one.
That was a good one.
Y'all got to go watch that one.
They're all good.
How do you tell your spouse that they have let themselves go? What does that conversation look like? Yeah. So those are the kinds of things that we're talking about, anything and everything. And it's 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a reason, because some of the topics are dicey. Some of the topics are quote unquote taboo. I don't believe in that word, but just so that you understand, we're talking about stuff in the bedroom. We're talking about stuff outside the bedroom. We're talking about anything and everything. So join us for that conversation as well.
10 p.m. for a reason.
10 p.m. for a reason.
So that we can talk about any and everything.
Indeed. Listen, there's some things we'll share with you again at the end of the show, but it's time to jump into to the show, man. So let's start with the media mix now. Let's go.
All right. Media mix down. I think I brought this to your attention.
Yes.
But go ahead and set it up.
So first of all, shout out to Dr. Parks in Atlanta, Georgia. Showed us this as well. And I saw this. Yeah, he sent it to me as well.
He did.
I saw it on TikTok. You saw it as well, right? Shout out to Just in the comments.
What's up, Just?
I love this title, y'all. Yeah. So, all right.
He said, I'm ready to sue somebody.
So that's what the media mix. The title is what the media mix down is about, right? So the media mix down for today is there's this video that's circulating now of a I think she's a lawyer, and
Is she a lawyer?
I think she's a lawyer because she was saying something about being in court waiting for another case, but she was in Texas, I believe. And what she was saying, she was making this announcement that it is illegal to go through your spouse's phone. It is illegal to read their text messages, to read their emails, to use that information against them. It's illegal to go through your spouse's device without their consent.
Without their consent, correct. Without their consent. The interesting thing about this law, it's not new.
It's not new.
It's not new. It has been in effect for
since 1986.
86. I couldn't remember if it was 6. Yeah, 86.
Since 1986.
That's a long 30-something years ago.
Right. And here's the thing. I did not know.
I didn't either.
What is the name of the act?
Do I still have it saved?
You have it saved?
I don't know if I do or not.
I'm gonna tell you what the act is. Hold on. Where is it? It's called the Electronic Communications Privacy Act.
Yep.
According to the Electronic Communications Privacy Act, the ECPA, it was signed into law by Ronald Reagan in October of 1986. Right? The law, it protects against the unauthorized interception of communications. Now, I'm looking to see, okay, what does that include today? That includes today cell phones. Going through somebody's phone, excuse me, without consent is typically considered an invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
And it is a crime according to federal law.
Federal law.
Based on the ECPA.
Can you believe it? Like,
now,
just wow.
So we are not proponents of any kind of foolishness. Let's make that clear right now.
Of course not.
We're not proponents of infidelity. We're not proponents of secrecy. We're not proponents of divisiveness. We're not proponents of the sneaky link. We're not proponents of none of that. However, no, listen to where I'm going. This is going to really embolden some folks.
What, you think so?
Absolutely.
What do you mean?
Because if it's illegal for you to go through my phone,
I see where you're going.
I can do some dirt.
Yeah.
And you can't figure out how to check me on it. Matter of fact, the woman who was talking about this was waiting on a case. And in that case, the guy was presenting as evidence stuff that he had read and was very quickly stopped and was like, hey, bro, do you really want to?
Yeah.
Do you really want to enter this?
Doing right now?
Like, you really want to enter this? Because this is going to be bad for you, not her.
Yeah.
Right. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Now, Here's the other side of that coin. I'm all for privacy.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Your phone should be private to you.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the contradictory statement, though. The flip side of that is your phone should also be public to me.
Should be?
Yes, should be.
Why should be? Why?
Why not?
Why are you stuttering?
Why? Yeah, why not?
I feel like if I don't want you to look through the law aside,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I don't want you to look through my phone,
Mm-hmm.
you should respect that. What do you mean it should be?
So I agree with you. Yes, I should respect that. Right. The unfortunate thing about you not wanting to look through my phone is that the connotation around that.
No, I disagree. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm hiding something.
I'm not saying you are. I'm talking about connotation. I'm not talking about actualization. I'm talking about connotation. If now how about we flip the script first of all? If you ask me to see my phone and I say no, I don't want you to see it. You tell me what you gonna think. Yeah, see, I should have had the thing on so I could have played some sound effects right now. I don't have it on. I should have played some cricket sound effects right there. That was perfect timing for the cricket sound effects. Because if I tell you that I'm not giving you my phone, then there's gonna be something going on.
I gotta think about that because yeah, I don't think I should. What how did you say it? What did you say?
That it should be available. And Justin just asked to unpack it, so I will do that.
Yeah.
Shout out to John in the comments. He said it's insane that there's a law needed to tell folk not to violate someone else's privacy, spouse or not.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
Yes.
I agree.
How do you agree with that? With what John said, and then say that it should be? You should. Well, I keep forgetting how you say it.
It sounds very contradictory, but let me explain. Justin said I had to switch platforms, but unpack that. So here's what I am not saying. Let's start with that.
Okay.
What I'm not saying is that I'm not saying that you have to, in the sense of it is a rule, right? So it's not a governing rule that you have to provide your phone to me. What I'm saying is that your phone should be available. Those are two different things.
I do not. I agree that they're two different things, but I do not agree that my phone should be available. I just don't agree with that.
Okay, so listen, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't agree with it.
Just hear me, ladies and gentlemen. You heard that she said that she doesn't agree with that, right?
And
hold on, wait, because you can't backpedal now.
I'm
like
not
stand on that.
I am. I'm not backpedaling.
Let me just say in front of all the people, I'm changing my phone password tonight.
Okay.
And you can't have it.
Okay.
You cool with that?
I'm cool with that.
Okay. There you have it, folks. So I'm in the clear. Hey, Justin, I don't have to unpack it anymore.
I'm in the clear.
I don't have to unpack it. See, where'd your head go just now?
I just don't know what. Even it doesn't. Okay, so no matter where anyone's head goes when people say stuff like, "Cool, I'm in the clear. I'm gonna change my password. I'm in the clear." It doesn't even matter if I think something about it.
Yes.
I still don't think that if I don't want my phone to be available to you, that it should be available to you.
So let me also clear something up. I'm being controversial for the sake of argument.
Yeah.
So just so you know, I'm being controversial for the sake of argument. Justin said available for what though, in what situation? So if I'm going to continue standing on that principle, right, that it should be available, here's what I'm really saying. What I'm really saying is that because you already know me, there's never, ever going to be a scenario where I ask to see your phone. I do not care. Like, let's just be clear about it. She knows me and she can vouch for that. I could care less. I don't care what you're doing on that phone.
The only time you say, let me see your phone is when you want to update it for me.
If I got to do something like from a technical standpoint. So let's be clear on that. I'm being argumentative for the sake of just
for the
starting
sake of
trouble.
the topic.
Right. Starting trouble. I could care less. I don't ever need to see her phone for nothing.
Right. Is that same?
Right. And same. Right. But here's what I mean when I say available. When I say available, there shouldn't be something that you are doing that would cause you pause if any scenario were to come up and I was like, hey, can I use your phone for something? Not can I check your phone, because that's something different. Not there should be no situation where you're like, hey, let me read your text messages. For what? Right. But the other side of that coin is you should be living in such a way that if I am updating your phone,
I shouldn't be like,
there
oh
ain't no
my gosh,
message.
he's updating
Right.
my phone. I hope
There
he
ain't no
doesn't see
message popping up from
anybody.
Jimmy talking about what you doing tonight.
I mean, I agree with that, but that's to me.
That's what I mean when I say available. That's what I mean when I say available.
Yeah, okay. I see where you're going with that.
Justin said, yes, you do. For the masses,
you need to unpack it, is what he means.
Yeah. And so here's the thing. Here's the real deal. Wow, we spent a lot of time on this. Media mix down.
It's okay.
Here's the real deal. All joking and starting trouble aside.
Maybe this should have been after dark.
This could be an after dark. Actually, you are. Privacy is a right.
Privacy is absolutely a right.
Privacy is a right. And this law aside, I agree with what John said. There should not be a law.
Shouldn't have to be a law.
There should not be a law that tells you that privacy is a necessary thing, right? The other side of that for me, though, is as a married person. Now I'm looking strictly through the lens of marriage.
Okay.
In marriage, prayerfully, you are not doing anything that would keep your phone from being available. And I'm not saying being available for you to check in and, hey, let me read your messages and emails for the day. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, let's use ourselves for an example. Quite often I will come up to your desk where you're working and be like, babe, let me get your phone for a second. Generally, when I'm asking for it, I'm asking because her phone is tied to a different Cash App than mine. Her Zelle is tied to a different, the number that's tied to her Zelle is different account. So normally when I ask her for her phone, I'm trying to do something. So for me, when I say available, that's what I mean. Now, there are people, and we have coached them, who wouldn't even be able to do that.
Correct.
Because so much stuff is popping up on their phone. They're like, oh, what you need me to do?
Yeah.
What you trying to do? All right, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, let me just do it. Yeah.
That's what I mean when I say available.
Okay.
That's what I mean. I know I was joking and kind of clowning before, but that's really what I mean.
Okay.
Right. And if you can't do that, that denotes a problem.
Yes, I agree. In that regard, I agree.
Right. Now, what you should not be doing is every time your spouse come in the house, hey, listen, let me see your phone to see what you did today. No. Yeah. Because that means you don't have trust issues. And that's bigger than the phone. That means
that you do have trust issues.
That you do have trust issues. Yes. Right. And that's bigger. That's a whole nother topic we can't even get into right now. But if you are on edge like that, then there are other aspects of your relationship that ain't right.
Yes, I agree. Yep.
So there, hopefully for those
that was the unpacking.
Hopefully for those who had their stones in their hands, they put them down.
Yeah, because man, I was about to stone you.
Now let me tell you this though, I still stand on this, that if you asked me for my phone and I told you no, that you would have a problem.
I think I don't know if I would have a problem, but I would give you the side eye because you have never not given me your phone if I ask for it. And I don't ask for it just like you to check who you're texting or what you did today or but just for the same reasons that you said.
Right.
You've never not given it to me or you've never hesitated. So I would give you the side eye as to what are you hiding. But even then, my mind wouldn't have gone to who's texting him. What is he doing that what is he trying to hide from me? I would probably think something along the lines of, "Ooh, he trying to surprise me." Like that.
Okay. And that's because it's us.
Yes.
But that don't happen in every relationship.
I know.
That's because it's us.
But
Now
see,
let me ask you this though. If I had set a precedent from day one when we got married that, hey, this is gonna be off limits to you, would you have been cool with that?
I probably in the back then, knowing who we both were back then, I would have been giving you a side eye for a whole completely different reason.
Right, because you would have thought I was hiding something.
Yes, at that time.
Okay.
Yeah. We
could go on with this for a while.
Just
So
about to say.
we're gonna cut it there. Listen, here, what do you think about that? John gave his thoughts in the comments. It's insane that there's a law for that. But
True.
What do you feel about that? Do you feel like you should have access?
Mm-hmm.
And why do you feel like you should have access if you do?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, why do you feel like you shouldn't?
Yeah.
That's a great thing for those of you who are watching now or watching the replay. Go ahead and put that in the comments. If there is a media mixdown that you would like for us to talk about, you can send us a message wherever you're watching this right now, or you can shoot us an email to the emails that is on your screen. And like Terry Park sent us this, if you send us something, we'll make sure that
we'll chop it up.
We'll put it in the rotation. All right. So I will end it by saying this.
I wish Terry was here. I would love his input.
Yeah. We might do an after dark on this.
Okay.
We might do an after dark on just this topic alone. Because I will say this. You should be living in such a way that your phone could be accessible if necessary.
If necessary.
Your phone, it should not be a mandatory scenario. There's no mandatory scenario around your phone being accessible. None that I can think of. Mm-hmm. However, you should be living in such a way that the exchanges that we have won't cause you pause.
Yeah.
Never once has she ever looked at me when I went and grabbed her phone. Sometimes I don't even ask. Sometimes it's sitting on her desk face down and I just go grab it. She don't even ask me what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that you should, as a married person, you should be living in such a way that if a scenario were to present itself where you need the phone for one reason or another, that it should never cause you pause. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Justin said, I agree with that. So that's the media mix down for today. Like I said, if you guys have something you want us to chop up, go ahead and send us that and we will chop it up as well. All right. So let's get into this next segment. The question of the day is an interesting one. We'll
question of the week.
Yeah, question of the week. We'll see how you answer that one. Here we go.
All right, here we go. Question of the week. How can we establish healthy communication habits? Excuse me. When it feels like every conversation leads to an argument. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess my first thought is, was this always the case? Has it always led to an argument? Or if not, if it hasn't always been that way, what changed? What happened? What happened to the relationship to cause it now, to cause every conversation to now lead to an argument?
Okay.
If it has always led to an argument, I would say check the way you're communicating. Are you communicating in a way to your spouse in the way that they receive communication, how they like to be communicated to? Because that was our thing in the beginning. We weren't communicating in a way that the other person could receive it well.
Right.
And then, the whole tone, timing, temperature. If you come at me, you got something great to say, but your tone is off, that's going to make me react to that right away. So it's a lot of variables and it's a lot of things to consider as to why every conversation leads to an argument.
Yeah. Agreed.
Every conversation?
Yep.
Wow.
John said, now that's a question.
That's a question.
So let me be Oliver Marcel for a second. Those of you who have watched videos of us know that I am I'm a shotgun communicator. So I kind of say things sometimes before I process them.
You got time to think about it.
No, but I had time to think about it, but I'm going to say the first thing that I thought once when this question came in. So how can we establish healthy communication habits when it feels like every conversation leads to an argument? You can't.
What do you mean you can't?
You can't. You can't establish healthy communication habits when every conversation leads to an argument. Now, in this question, it says it feels like every conversation leads to an argument, which means it could mean a lot of things. I'm not going to read into it, but I'm going to say this. If every conversation you have leads to an argument, somebody is not doing something correctly.
As far as communication
goes. And what I tell people all the time, and she can tell you this, we tell people all the time that if you don't like the results of your approach needs to change. So if there are certain words, let's say that she asked me a question and I use these particular set of words to answer that question every time. And every time I use those words to answer that question, she jumps off. Then I need to change the words. Like, and I'm not trying to oversimplify it. I'm really not. But in order to establish healthy communication habits, that infers that you need to actually change what you're currently doing. That's like me saying, I want to establish healthy eating habits while I'm eating Five Guys. It ain't going to happen. So if every time I'm hungry, I go to Five Guys, then no, I'm not.
That's what needs to change.
Right. I'm never going to be able to establish healthy habits. You know what I mean? That's the same thing. Like if every conversation leads to an argument, there are some things at the core of your communication that need to change in order for you to establish a habit in that new area.
Yeah. So Justin says, man, my throat. Timing can make a big difference. Choose moments when both partners are relatively calm and not stressed or preoccupied. Bingo.
Yep.
Avoid serious discussions when either of you is tired, hungry, or pressure. Yes, absolutely.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
And that's all. And all of that can fall under the umbrella of approach.
Right.
If I'm consistently coming to you and saying something while you're working, knowing that you're busy, knowing that you're preoccupied, knowing that you don't have the capacity to do that. And I keep doing that and we keep arguing. Maybe I should pick a different time. Like, you know what I mean? John said, if you don't like the results of your approach needs to change. That's a bar. I mean, and I'm not trying to oversimplify it. Not at all. Because you said something very important. You need to know how your spouse receives communication. Because sometimes you're not saying anything reckless. Sometimes you're not out the box. Sometimes what you're saying is valid and the word choice that you've used and the tone and inflection is good. She just don't receive it that way. Now there's a conversation to be like, hey, babe, I'm not yelling. I'm not cursing at you. I'm not. Why is it?
What is it about what I'm saying that throws you off every time?
Why is it that you go there?
That's what happened with us in the beginning. You know, you being the shotgun communicator would just come at me like, rah, 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 or at least that's how I received it. And, you know, it got to the point where we had to sit down and be like, okay, what is it about what I'm saying that is throwing you off every time? Because we can't get past this point because every time you're thrown off. And I had to say, when you say this, when you stand like this, when you do this, when your whole body language, the words you use, it was triggering for me. And so that was a whole thing. And we argued about that. Because he felt like he could never say anything to me. And it was not that what he was saying necessarily was not wrong or not important or not valuable or not something that I or the relationship needed. But it was just his approach.
And then I would say this too, to answer this question, how can we establish healthy communication habits? Once you get to the place where you're like, okay, I need to change my approach, there are adjustments that need to be made. I'm being intentional about finding out how my spouse receives communication and that kind of thing. Now, in order to establish a healthy communication habit, you got to be consistent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Let's go back to the food thing. If I'm trying to establish healthy eating habits and I eat salad for 1 week and then go back to Five Guys the next week, we're not going to get where we're trying to go. So once you do that, you can't just try it, which we see many couples do.
Yeah.
You can't just do it once or twice or every blue moon and expect to create a habit.
It's got to be consistent.
You have to consistently be doing it. And you have to create contingencies for the times that you don't do it, because we're not perfect. So that's like me going to Nisi and saying, okay, you know what? You told me the things that are triggering to you. You shared with me the body language. You shared with me the words. From this point on, I'm going to be intentional about keeping that in mind.
Yeah.
Now, in the moments where I'm just Oliver and I forget.
Yeah.
Here's how I would like for you to gently remind me so that we don't go down the rabbit hole of conflict. You got to set yourself up for success.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see, John.
What?
Hold on. Let me get to it. So Justice said, I'd say this in my experience, keep
the discussion centered on the problem rather than personal attacks.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Without
Instead of saying you're so this or that. Listen, the finger pointing, when you start a sentence and finger point, when you're in conflict with you, forget about it.
Yeah,
or you're so,
yeah,
forget about it, because that's all I'm going to hear. You point your finger at me, even if you don't literally point your physical finger at me, but your words are pointing their fingers at me.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to hear.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm not at this point. We're not even on topic.
Yeah. We call those can opener words and phrases.
Can opener words and
you
phrases.
Always, you never.
Yep.
How come you?
Yeah.
Like, you forget about it.
Yep.
You going, it's going left.
Yeah.
So yeah, good point. Focus on the specific
behavior. It upset me when X happened because why? Saying YouTube cut off my message. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's right, Jess.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, man. and here's what's crazy. John. Right? John said no Five Guys slander
will be tolerated.
And here, so now just a moment of transparency for me. The reason why Five Guys was the place that popped out of my mouth is because I like it. Like, you know what I mean? It's not because I don't like it or because I'm trying to avoid it. It's actually because I like it. You know what I mean? So that's why that was such an easy example.
Food.
That's why that was such an easy example for me. Oh, but yeah, I would say, listen, there's some things you got to do. And one of those things is you have to now evaluate what are the things that are leading you into this argument every time.
Yeah.
And those are the things you have to address.
Yeah.
So if certain words always take you there, if you walk away from the person and they flip out, then you should probably not walk away. You know what I'm saying? Just evaluate what are those things and then be intentional about making those adjustments.
Yeah. And I think too, like this question, whoever posed this question, like before going and having the conversation with your spouse, like really sit down and think about maybe the last argument that you had and just go through the argument, piece it out. Like what happened? I sat down, she stood up, or she sat down, and whatever, like I said this and then this happened.
Yeah.
Or they said that and then this happened. Like really notice like what happened to start the argument. Because then you can pinpoint, okay, now when I said this is when the argument happened. Or when they did that, this is when the argument happened. Because then you can go back to your spouse and be like, hey, I noticed when I did this is when we tend to start the argument, or I noticed when you moved a certain way, or when you left, or when I left, that's when the argument started. Like think about it in your mind first. Go through the argument and pinpoint those things, because then you'll have something to bring to your spouse.
Yeah.
Instead of going to your spouse and be like, what we going to do about this?
Yeah, that's good.
You know what I mean?
That's good, because ultimately you're trying to win, right?
Yeah.
And if you think about sports, right? If you get yourself in a scenario where you do not win, even if you get yourself in a scenario where you do win, you're going to go back and look at tape. You're going to go look back at what went wrong. What did we not do?
Yeah.
How could we, tighten up defense? How could we tighten up offense? You're going to look at those things. So you should be doing those things in your relationship as well, because what it helps you do is learn more about your teammate.
Yeah.
And it also allows you to craft some strategy for your team's success.
And you got to be honest with yourself. Like when you review the tape of the argument and you're like, oh, that was me.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that.
I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have whatever. I shouldn't have reacted. I shouldn't have used the whatever it is. You got to own it, and you have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah. You got to be honest with yourself, and you got to go through the process of forgiveness, because and this is going to take us down a whole nother road, so I'm not going to get into this too much, but I would dare say that if every conversation leads you to an argument, there's some stuff that hasn't been forgiven.
You think so?
Absolutely. Because every time you have a conversation, you're in an argument, there's no there are often times where there's no resolution. Yeah. Which means now when you're going back over the tape, so to speak, now you have to be able to be man enough or woman enough to go to your spouse and be like, hey, you know what? That's on me. That last time. I shouldn't have done that. And let's talk about what can be done differently.
Yeah, this threw us off when I did this.
Yeah.
This is where we messed up.
Yeah.
Because of what I said or did or how I reacted.
Yeah.
It was me.
I had to do that 2 weeks ago.
Sure did.
Yeah. So if you go back and watch the episode where we had PJ and Gladys Gillum on that Thursday, I think that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
The day before, she was mad at me. Matter of fact, she was still a little salty during the show. Like we were connecting and we were having a good time in the show, but she was still it
was a little cool in here.
But earlier before the show, and only reason I'm saying that is to reinforce what we just said. I had to go to her and be like, "Hey, listen. I didn't mean to say it like that. That's not what I was trying to do. It shouldn't have come across that way. The frustration, caused my tone to be what it was, and I had to go to her. Like sometimes you just gotta.
You have to own it.
Sometimes you just gotta eat that and just be like, that it was me. Like,
so
my bad.
Are you gonna just not say anything, knowing it was you because of your pride,
right?
Or are you going to make your relationship win?
Right. And I'm trying to win.
Yeah.
Quickly. Yeah. Because if y'all heard what I said last week, I had other things that needed to be done. So we ain't about to be in conflict for days and days and days. I got work to do. Work, aka, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So listen, that's the question of the week. Those of you who have some thoughts about it, make sure that you put your thoughts in the comments. Shout out to Elizanne in the comments. Hello, family. You have to evaluate and make peace.
Yeah.
You do.
You do. You absolutely do. You have to evaluate and make peace.
You have to evaluate and make peace. So that's the question of the week. And just like the media mix down, if you have a question, or even if it's not about you, but you just got a question and you want us to tackle that question, you can DM us wherever you're watching, or you can email us admin@denali.org, and we will make sure we get those questions in there. All right. So hold on, let me take that email down and let's get to these comments. Work pop. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, I don't have time to be in conflict like that. You know what I'm saying? We got other stuff going on. I'm trying to pop some other stuff off.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're trying to do some things. So yeah, we got to win quick. We got you, brother. Thank you. All right, listen, let's get into this next segment. And ironically, and I didn't mean to do this on purpose, but ironically, talking about wins is actually what we're talking about. in this next segment. So let's get into the marriage minute. So in today's marriage minute, I was having a conversation with someone and just talking about how we often ignore, I don't know, ignore is a strong word, but I'm going to use it. We often ignore the small, in air quotes, because no win is small.
Overlook.
We overlook the small wins that take place in our marriage.
Yeah.
And in the marriage minute, just want to encourage you not to overlook the small wins. I was telling a couple recently, a win is a win.
A win is a win.
Period.
A win is a win.
So if you go through the entire day and y'all are loving on each other and there has been no major disagreement, that's a win.
That's a win.
Now, what we're encouraging you to do is celebrate those. And I'm going to skip all the way to the end of this to say why. You want to celebrate those because the celebration of those wins begets motivation to be consistent.
Yes, absolutely.
Your consistency gets you to more wins.
Yep.
And thus we create a cycle, right? What does celebration look like? I can't really tell you that. You and your spouse have to determine what that is. Celebration could look like
it can be whatever you deem to be a celebration. It can be a high five with your spouse. It could be a high five with yourself in the mirror. It can be going and getting a coffee. It can be going on a date, whatever you choose.
Yeah.
Whatever you choose to be your celebration. Like, we can't choose that for you.
Yeah. And I would say, even if it's going to be singular in nature, like you're going to go get a coffee, your spouse should also.
Well, I meant together.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. It should also be acknowledged. Right. So, man, babe, I love that you did XYZ today. I love that you said XYZ today because it made me feel like blah, 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 blah. Right. Yeah. We've even told people, and I'm going to give something away that we talk about in the group coaching. We've even shared with people a formula that allows you to actually express a need during your celebration.
Yes.
Right. I call it the ice cream sandwich method. There's a psychological term for it, but I like ice cream sandwiches. And so that's what I chose. So if you think about the ice cream sandwich, right? The ice cream sandwich has 2 wafers with the ice cream in the middle. Let's call the 2 wafers celebration. Let's call the ice cream in the middle the need, right? So let me show you how that looks. If I'm going to do celebration, need, celebration, right? So Nisi does something that really makes me feel like a man, really makes me feel like she wants me. Really, I mean, like this was a golden thing that happened today, right? So I go to her and I'm like, babe, listen, man, what you said to me and did earlier, bro, listen. I love that because that just made me feel wanted and needed. Like I walked out of here feeling like I'm the man. Celebration. Now watch how I slip the need in. I need you to do that more. Like you gotta keep doing that. Because going back into celebration. Because when you do it, you see how I'm like on cloud 9, right?
Floating.
and your celebration could be as simple as that.
Yep.
Because now she leaves that conversation like, wow, this dude is like in the heavens over this thing that maybe she might have thought was insignificant before I gave her that celebration.
Right.
Now I've given her the celebration. I've expressed the need that I need you to keep doing it. And I've ended it, capped it with celebration. She walks away from that conversation like, man,
I'm gonna put that in my back pocket.
I need to put that in my repertoire because this is dope.
Right.
Like, I love this reaction, right?
Yes.
And again, now fuels the motivation to be consistent. The consistency now begets the type of results that you want to celebrate.
Right.
So don't ignore the small things. Don't ignore the small things. Progress is progress.
And I think I did a video about this. Like, a win is a win.
Yeah.
If you go to the bank and you make a $5 deposit, and then the next week you make a $10 deposit, and then the following week you only have enough to make a $5 deposit. You don't ever be like, well, I don't really have any money in the bank. Yeah, you do. You deposited what, $10, $20.
Mm-hmm.
So a win is a win. Whereas before, maybe you were able to deposit $20 or $200. Now you can only deposit $5. So now you're saying you didn't deposit anything. That's money still.
Yeah. And that we see that quite often, that couples don't want to acknowledge. Well, not they don't want to. I'm not going to say they don't want to, but they don't think that it's important to acknowledge the small milestones, the small benchmarks, because they're trying to get to this big thing down the road. And because they're not at that big thing yet, they don't acknowledge the fact that
everything else doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah. That they're 4 steps closer than they were yesterday.
Yes.
And that is important.
Yeah.
So I urge you, don't let those things slip by.
Right.
If you're 4 steps closer to a phenomenal relationship today than you were yesterday, that needs to be acknowledged.
Yes.
Because that acknowledgement, I'm going to say it again, repetition, it's not redundancy, it's reinforcement. That celebration, it fuels the motivation.
It does.
To be consistent. That
really
consistency will get you the results that you want to celebrate.
And if you think about it, you are close. You're not, maybe not as close as you'd like to be, but still you're not at the starting point. You're not where you started.
Right.
That's progress.
Progress. And progress is progress.
Progress is progress.
I've said this before, probably on this show. So those of you who have heard me say this, just act like you heard it for the first time. But I say this to people all the time. If I walk outside of my house right now and I start walking down the street, in 3 hours, I will not be in New York. But I'm going to be far enough from home that I might be like, babe, I'm going to need you to come get me because I don't feel like walking back.
Right.
Progress is progress. Acknowledge it. Find a way to celebrate it. Allow that celebration to motivate you to be consistent so that the wins keep coming.
Yeah. That
is the Marriage Minute for today.
Justin said, I enjoy this more than a sermon. This is a message. Thanks, Just.
Praise God.
Share
That's what's
it.
up. Appreciate that, fam.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Share it with your peoples, Just.
That is the Marriage Minute for today. Shout out to Stevie Burke in the comments, Pastor Stevie Burke. Every single brick is important in the building
of House of Bricks.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Sure is. Hi, Stevie.
Absolutely. Shout out to Stevie Burke in the comments. Shout out to you, man. Good to see you. Great job, Elizan says. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Elizan.
that. Appreciate that. So listen, we're going to get out of here, but not before we do the last segment, which is the last word. Let's do it.
So the last
what we got?
word is for this week is, it's not one word, but the last word. I'm just thinking about yesterday. And I just don't want whatever you're feeling, whatever disappointment, hurt, overwhelm, sadness, whatever it is that you're feeling, talk it out with your spouse and don't shut your spouse out. Talk, and not necessarily just in this situation, but in any situation. Overwhelm, stress, disappointment, anger, whatever it is that you're feeling. Yes, absolutely. Talk to God. I want you to do that first. But talk it out with your spouse. Like, don't shut your spouse out. Allow your spouse to help you hold that. Allow him to, or her, to help you carry that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you have a spouse. You don't have to have that burden all by yourself. Talk it out with your spouse. Babe, I'm feeling really low, disappointed, hurt, upset, angry, whatever it is. Talk it out with your spouse so that he or she can share that with you.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
We say often, use your spouse as a resource.
Yeah.
Use your spouse as a resource. Imagine having this device in your hand, the cell phone, that can find out information for you,
Mm.
that can give you directions to places,
Mm-hmm.
that can pull up all sorts of information to help you and assist you, and you don't ever use it.
Right. Yeah.
Use your spouse as a resource. That's we were put in covenant with each other
Mm.
to be that for each other.
Yeah.
And why have that and not utilize it?
Yeah. And I'm not saying necessarily that you'll feel great afterwards, because you
Mhm.
may not, but at least you're able to share that with someone
Mhm.
and not feel so loaded
Mhm.
with it.
Great question, Elizan. What if it is not beneficial for the relationship, but getting counseling is?
And then absolutely do that.
So
So
I agree with that. Let me just say this, and I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm just giving you both sides of this, right? So believe it or not, even if you in your mind can't necessarily connect dots between what the thing is and your relationship, trust and believe that there is a connection.
What do you mean? Say that
So
again.
even if, and I'm not I'm not saying, I'm not putting words in your mouth, Elizan, but I'm just using what Elizan asked to just relay a point, right? If it's not beneficial for the relationship for me to use you as a resource,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to get counseling, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever that thing is, it's still going to have bearing on the relationship. You see what I mean? Like, even if it's something with me, like if it's something I need to take care of, something I need to heal from, some trauma I need to get over,
It's still manifesting itself in
it's
the
right. It's
relationship
still, there's
in
still
some
some
ways.
connection. It still connects the dots, right? So that's a good point. If you don't feel like you can use your spouse as a resource for a particular thing, then yes, you need to get counseling,
Mm-hmm.
because it will manifest itself.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be beneficial, but it might be detrimental. And
Mm.
either way, there is a connection,
Mm-hmm.
is the point that I'm making, right?
Okay.
Marissa is in the house. Shout out to Marissa Morris. Thank you
Hi,
for being here,
Marissa.
Marissa, and being a part of this show. So listen, let me say this too. Can I tack on to the last word real
Please,
quick?
yeah.
So I'm a very practical tool kind of person,
Mm-hmm.
right? Elizan said, I agree. I'm a very practical tool type of person. But let me just go back a little bit. We gave a lot of practical tools today. We're also Christians
Mm-hmm.
and believe in the power of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So with all the practical tools, you can also ask for the Holy Spirit's guidance in all of these areas, whether it be establishing healthy communication,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be coming up with a game plan around, like, nothing is too trivial. Coming up
Yes.
with a game plan around the devices,
Mm.
about how do I celebrate and make me cognizant of these moments so that I can,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
all of this stuff. The beauty of that, of having that level of guidance, is that now you have some extra sauce, if you will,
Mm.
for those tools that you're using, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to throw that in there
Absolutely. So
as
good.
well. So hopefully, excuse me, hopefully you gained something from this. Hopefully it
Mm-hmm.
was beneficial to you. Hopefully there's something that you can take away, even if it is to have a conversation with your spouse about all of this. All right.
So good. So
So
good.
good stuff. Listen, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you, those of you who are in the comments, those of you who are watching or watching the replay. Thank you for being a part of this show. Real quick before we get out of here, we're going to talk about, I mentioned something, the ice cream sandwich method. We talk about that in our group coaching experience. So for those of you who are looking for an experience that will help you to communicate on an extraordinary level, to recognize, manage, and recover from conflict in record time, and to build a strong, holistic, intimate bond, we are starting another cohort of the Make Love Better 6-week group coaching experience.
Yeah, the last one for the year.
The last one for the year. Last one for the year. So we'll be wherever you're following us now, just you'll see some stuff come out about that. If you know couples who might be interested in that, it's only capped at 8 couples because we want to make it intimate. We want to make sure that everybody is addressed.
Yes.
So be on the lookout for that. John said the Marcel's are always good for some dope,
meaningful quotables.
Man, appreciate you,
Thanks,
fam.
John.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Elizanne said, have an awesome night.
You too as well.
You as well. Thank you, Marissa. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you.
Indeed.
So listen, we're going to get out of here. Thank you again for being a part of this. Those of you who rock with us with our shows, we'll be around on Saturday night for Have a Conversation After Dark. So join us on Saturday night for that. And with that, have a phenomenal rest of your evening and a great weekend.
Take care, guys.
Remember, celebrate.
Celebrate. Yay. Pom-poms.
Motivate. Communicate. Man, I should have been a hip hop artist. All right, I'm out of here. Let's get out of here. Listen, man, we appreciate you. Love you guys. Thank you for being a part of this, man. And we will see you
next time.
Next week.
Bye.
Peace out.